So here's a drill that you can start with. Here's a drill that you can start with. Shoulder hooping. This is one of the most difficult things that I learned. I cannot tell you how long it took me to get this. And I just could not connect the movement in my upper body and what was happening in my mind. I knew what I wanted to make the hoop do, but I just couldn't get it to go. So a couple of things when you start your shoulder hooping journey. One, give yourself a lot of time. This is not likely to come overnight, but it will happen with practice. And when you get it, it's like, bam, you got it for life, kind of like riding a bike. The next thing is just enjoy the journey of learning. My best moments are the ones where I am laughing hysterically at myself. And I know this is not politically correct, but when I learned shoulder hooping, I looked like an epileptic penguin, I kid you not. My arms were flying out. I mean, nothing was working. So just laugh at yourself, realize this is probably going to be a really difficult move to learn because you only have essentially 2 contact points when the hoop is resting on your shoulder. You've got one shoulder here, one shoulder here, and you've got to close the gap to give the hoop a nice surface continuously to spin on. That's what makes shoulder hooping so difficult. So what I want you to do is practice working your shoulders before you even pick up the hoop. Now if you spin to the left, you're going to push with your right shoulder and pull with your left. If you spin to the right, I want you pushing with your left, pulling back with your right. I spin to the left, so I'm going to explain it that way. What you are going to do is when the hoop is at this contact point, you're pushing the hoop forward. Then when it hits this shoulder, you're pulling it back. So I really just want you to practice push, pull. Okay, I'll turn to this side. Push, pull. Push right, pull left. Push, pull. Push, pull. Once that's comfortable, you're going to add in a little bit of chest and a little bit of back together. When you are pushing, I'm pushing and I'm also pushing my chest out. Push. When you pull, you're going to pull your chest in. Pull. Push out, pull in. Push out, pull in. So that's your basic movement. Now it's going to be opposite if you're spinning to the right. So you've got to push out, pull in. Push out, pull in. If you have a larger chest, clearly I am at a disadvantage here. If you have a larger chest, it's going to be a little bit easier to bridge the gap. I've got a lot of space in here that I have to fill. So if you have a larger chest, this might be a little bit easier because you're going to push and push out with your chest. You'll notice when I shoulder hoop, I've got a ton of shoulder action coming in for that very reason. It's really hard for me to close that gap. I am really pushing so far out and so far back if I'm not using my shoulders. Okay, next thing with shoulder hooping is, once you have that movement, the tricky part is, how do you practice it? How do you get into that position? There's 2 methods, and I'm going to show you both. The first is to simply start in your waist hooping position here, but we're shifting the hoop up along the body. So hoop is resting at the base of my shoulder blades, and I'm just making sure that my hoop is level. So when you push in toward the body, that right shoulder is going to push, the left shoulder is going to pull. The other thing that will make this easier when you push is to start spinning with your hoop. Same direction. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Now, the other way that you can initiate the movement is from the waist. A lot of people like to bring the hoop up from waist to shoulders. This is an art form in itself, and that's what probably took me the longest with shoulder hooping, is I kept trying to get it from waist up to shoulder before I could even practice the shoulder hooping. So what I would recommend is, while you are practicing getting your shoulder hooping movement down, keep it in this position. If this is comfortable, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to get the hoop from waist up to your shoulders. Now, you've got to get your arms down by your sides. So what you want to do is you're looking for the hole to the right. So as the hoop comes around, I've got this pocket that's created, and I want you to just start sticking your hand in that pocket, okay? Dip, 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 dip. Now you want to look for the pocket on your other side. So when the hoop is at its widest is when you can dip, 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 okay? Next step is you're gonna start with your right hand if your hoop spins to the left. Start with your left hand if it spins to the right. When you have this opening, I just want you to stick the right hand down by your side. So I'm looking for my opening, looking. When you feel comfortable, dip that hand. Keep it by your side. The tendency, I swear to you, you're gonna wanna fly your hand up like this, okay? When it goes down, keep it attached to your leg. Just get in this habit. Your hand goes down, stays by your thigh. So here we go again. Looking for the hole, looking for the hole, shooting my hand down, and it stays by my head. Your hoop's not gonna come up right now. We're just working on some drills. Okay, when you can do that with one hand, we're gonna add in the second hand. Looking for my hole, shoot down, okay? So same thing with your other hand. Both of these are gonna stay attached to your side. Now the timing is down, down, okay? So it's very quick. Down, down, bam, bam. Here we go. Looking for my hole, bam, bam. Okay. Now, the next part of the movement is, we've got our hands down to our side. How are we gonna get this hoop up? The reason that I'm having you keep your hands down to the side is, what happens a lot of time when people are learning this movement is, they're waist hooping, they're gonna put hand down, down, but they fly them out. So it looks like this, down, down, like this. It feels like that's gonna bring your hoop up, but you're losing all control. It's helpful to imagine a spiral staircase going across your arm, and each time you're moving your shoulder up, you're bumping that hoop up to another level of the staircase. So you should be able to get it up to your shoulder in essentially 2 bumps. And when I talk about bumps, I'm not talking about out, but you're moving up and you're pushing. So I'm lifting my shoulder up and pushing. So I'm lifting my shoulder up and pushing the hoop, and pushing the hoop, and that's gonna move your hoop up. And it's helpful to start this while you're turning. So I'm gonna go ahead and start waist hooping, and then I'm gonna go through it as I start to turn. So I'm waist hooping, I'm gonna start to turn, down, down, bump, bump. So my hands stay at my sides, and I'm using that shoulder to bump the hoop up to that next level. So I'll do it again. Waist hooping, I'm gonna start to turn, turn, down, down, bump, bump. Now, one thing that can help as well is, as you are turning and you're dipping your hands in, is to do a small dip with the hoop, which will look like this. Waist hooping, turning, down, down. I'm dipping and I'm popping back up as I'm pushing the hoop. So even that little bit of dip, as your hands go down, as you come back up, that's gonna help to bump the hoop up. So that's something that you can try as well. So hopefully that's enough to get you started. Definitely let me know how you do and have a lot of patience as you go through this.